What's up, everyone? This is Niyi Adewale, host of the Ekabo Home Financial Freedom Mastermind Group. This group meets virtually every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and the members of this group are committed to achieving financial freedom well before the traditional retirement age. So in this podcast, you are going to get VIP access to the conversations we have about different forms of investment and creative ways to get your dollars working harder for you than you originally worked to obtain those dollars.
I check the market every day, and my girlfriend, she a realtor now. So because she's pregnant and everything now, I actually do her showing. Mm-hmm. So now there's more like give and take. Like literally, I got 2 to 3 houses that we kind of responsible to sell, but people just coming in and they tight, man. They really negotiating like. They negotiate and they willing and dealing and walking away. They not spending the money.
Because you can right now. You definitely can right now.
Yeah, so they doing that. And I even have a project that I got for the low that I was trying to sell. So what I had to do is I had to make another route where I'm just going doing the work and just sit on it, and just let it pass by. But I'm seeing 4 or 5 houses. I mean, they giving me like I walked away on the deal just because I didn't even get the full 6% and like try to talk them down. I could have got it with like 3% or 4%, but I said no, I need 6%.
Dude, and that's like literally. So I just closed on a house, and we haven't been in a market like this in a while. But I closed on a house literally 4 hours ago, and it was the same type of. Thank you, man. And congrats to you. I can't let it go over my head, man. You said the girlfriend's, hey, congrats, my dude.
Yeah. Next month she gonna be there.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. And thank you. And so with this house, when I was getting it, it was right before the Fed raised their interest rates. And so it was still crazy competitive. This was like 2 months ago when I got it under contract. We've pushed it back a couple of times. But long story short, during that time period, because the market's changed, I've been able to go back to them with a lot of things. Like this house, it had some plumbing issues that they completely took care of with one of the guys that I gave them. It had some roof that they redid. It had a bunch of stuff. Like it looks good, like visually, but structurally, there were a couple of things that needed to be taken care of. They spent no less than probably $15K to get it all done because the market's changed, because they know, hey, if we put this back on the market, I don't know that others are going to be bidding to the way that we got it the first time. And so I'm looking to do that for a lot of my buyer clients right now as well.
Yeah, it's definitely out there. I definitely see the change because, like I said, I got one property is in East Oak Lane, waterline main break, not a main, but a pipe just bust, and it came from the top all the way down to the bottom, just knocking the sheetrock off. So she was going to list the house already at $375, but it was worth $475. But she's selling it for $300. She just won't sell it to me just because her personal connection to it. She just wanted out her site. Mm-hmm. So so what happened was people is they coming in, they looking at it, they don't even want to do the construction. They like, we ain't even doing it. The numbers is really, really high, but
the numbers are off right now, man. Like even I was trying to take on a deal out in East Point in Atlanta. I talked about it on here, and I actually was like 2 days away from closing on it. And then we found that there was like a sinkhole and all this other stuff. And it was already going to be a little tight. And I just had to say, hey, man, I'm walking away from this because it's just the cost of labor, the cost of materials is significant right now still. And I just don't want the headache. 6 months down the road, I don't know what the market's going to look like. So it's like, all right, let me lock in, keep buying some rentals that I know are going to do well. And invest in this development deal that I got going out in Louisville and keep going from there.
Yeah, man, it's why I've been seeing like me I've been doing it with my girl, just doing the showings, right? So I'm gonna give you another deal. So we made a play. One of my friends, it was really a layup deal. He seen a house in North Wales. So we kind of figured that they got the money from investment. They was just trying to get their money back. Like they literally dropped from 600,000 to 560 within a week. Right?
That's crazy. A week of listing?
Yeah,
people are shaky right now. People are shaky.
Yeah.
Go ahead, yeah.
So 560. So I got the realtor to get on the phone and say, hey, look, do y'all have any offer? They said, no, we having an open house. Make a long story short, they was having an open house. So the guy who he said, I don't want to play no games with it. If we give you 580 right now, don't do the showing, we wrap it up. So they didn't have an open house, right? They didn't do the open house. And I think he just said he needed 90 days closing.
That's a long time.
Yeah, he said because he got to get the honey. He just got to move some pieces around. But he said if you can give him 3 months, it can be sooner, it could be earlier, but he just need the 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Make a long story short, they ain't do it.
Of course.
They ain't do it. But here's the key though. I just seen it and it reduced even more. They keep going down. It's 2 months later. I know they kicking themselves in the foot.
Dude, the worst thing you can do, unless it's a commercial property, you need that time actually to do like soil surveys and you got to get permits, all this stuff for commercial. But in residential, no. Like you can't have your house locked up for 90 days because in the last 90 days, we've had 2 interest rate hikes that have taken a lot of buyers out of the market.
But he was willing to put down a nice deposit, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it was just one of them things. But like you just said, we kind of seen it coming. We knew that it was going to slow down. And we know some of the best deals is made when people distress. Like you just said, you got a lot more people. So I'm just pretty much waiting. I'm just staying put, tighten up on some of the properties that I have. And that's just pretty much it. Now I'm just interested in just seeing how the rental game will come along now. So that's going to be the trickle down effect. Because I'm seeing a lot of people just rushing out where they live at. And I've been turning down people just because I've just been turning down people just till I figure it out. Because I've seen the show before a little bit. People panicking, just trying to get in, just get in there.
Hey, dude, I'm with you to a certain extent. I'm looking at this as a major buying opportunity because at some point, the wheel's going to turn around, right? Like at some point, the interest rates, yes, we're buying, like the house I closed on today, my interest rate was 6.25. This is the highest interest rate I've ever had, even on commercial properties. I think the highest I had in commercial was like 5. And this was, we had low interest rates for a long time. But the reason I'm still going out there and buying, because when you look at the fundamentals and how much you can rent for, because the home prices are so expensive with the interest rates now and still expensive, even though some homes are reducing and things of that nature, it's still cheaper for a lot of tenants to rent than it is to save up the money now needed to do a down payment and to go purchase a house and then to move everything and then furnish it. And so when I run the numbers, I'm thinking not just this year, but 5 years down the road. And when there is another shift and interest rates come back down below where they are right now, if you own the asset, that's just another lottery win for you. You just refinance, pull some money out, and now your payment's either the same or a little bit less, and you just keep going from there.
No, yeah, absolutely. Like we done made up our mind. This is how we gonna live, and this is how we gonna go. So it's just about everything that you've been doing up to this point. We're gonna see how prepared people are, or how well they've been, saving money. But it's across the board. Like I even went to a car dealership today. Like the trucks is going down. They still was worrying about gas. I'm seeing things like that. But like I just said, we don't operate within fear. We daring. So, we like I just said, I'm just going to be a little bit more firm. That's it.
Absolutely.
And, I'm being more firm.
Because we can.
We just passed up on it was a 7-bedroom house. We passed up on it just because my partner was just a little intimidated of the size. She was worrying about the upkeep of it, which was a fair concern. Mm-hmm. But I would have did it. But I'm not afraid to spend my last dime on real estate.
Hey, come on now. But now we're getting for the first time in what seems like forever, we're getting to put on our investor hats and actually have an opportunity to not just do a highest and best, right? Now we can actually go in there, look at the deal and figure out, hey, what makes the best sense, and actually analyze a couple deals. Like if this was 2 years ago, you may not have turned that one down. It was like, hey man, you got to get in somewhere. Like you have to. Now it's like, hey, I can pick and choose because a couple houses are sitting. And honestly, because sellers got so used to, or a lot of people got so used to selling homes within a week, or a home going under contract in 4 days, what you talked about is happening a lot more often. Like 1 week into a listing is not enough time to lower the price. Normally listings are supposed to sit for, anywhere from 20 to 30 days before they go under contract, right? But now sellers got so used to it going under contract in 1 day, 3 days, multiple offers, cash offers over asking, that they're getting scared when it sits for 1 week. And it's you gotta hold tight.
Yeah, you got to hold tight, and like you just said. But people, when you don't know something and it's unknown, they just really just trying to save it. Like even now, right? By the way, like even now, like I started even doing things to try to help people out. Like I'm selling like fire smoke detectors. Like I got a nice little line on that. The little stuff, any little thing I get. People don't even want to buy that. I'm like, it's rough. Investors, the numbers not making it. The 25 to 30,000 that they would have made is getting ate up in construction.
It's true.
So they don't even want to see. They don't want to even take it on. And with the house being at its peak, because the houses didn't drop, they still at their peak. But I mean, they still somewhat high. Like,
yeah,
it's just like, but it's going to come down when everything come down. The construction, everything will level out. It's gonna be an even playing field. So, but like you just said, this the time to like not get scared, to be down. So
hey, it's
that's
the
where
time to
we at
scoop it
with
up,
it.
man. It's the time where you can actually negotiate.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I had one guy, man. He moved into my room, man, and literally another month he said, "Yo, I just want to be responsible, man. I can't keep this up." And he was like, "Do you mind if I stay one more month, keep the security and everything?" I'm like, "Man, hey, look, yeah, I'll let you break it. I'm glad that you was honest." You know what I mean? So it's getting like that because it's to the point where like my rooms, I'm getting 700 now. It's like I hate to do it, but
you got to raise the rent, man.
I'm like, I hate to do it, but
hey,
yeah, I hate to do it,
but hey, somebody got to.
Yeah, they doing it to me, man. I hate to pass this bill off to people. And then the taxes is really like it caught up in Philadelphia, it caught up. What's going on with that Airbnb situation that I'm hearing out in Atlanta where they only allowing y'all?
Man, everybody hit me up about that. So there's ways to get around it, right? So the Airbnb law, and let's even take a step back, right? The reason that they felt they had a need to introduce this law and introduce something that was a little bit stricter is because everybody's been doing it out here, right? There's been a lot of rental arbitrage where even the rentals in Midtown and other places, you can't even get in because people are Airbnb-ing them or buying out a whole floor. And then, some places have turned into like party houses, the people that aren't operating it professionally. Not to mention with the lack of supply and how many people are moving to Atlanta. Atlanta on any list you look at is top 5 migration for individuals in the US where they're moving to. Atlanta's in that top 5, no matter what metrics you're looking at. And so the median cost of a home over the last 2 years has gone from 250 to over 350. I actually looked at a magazine yesterday that said the median home price is around 375 now. And that's in 2 years. And so to rein it all in and put a little bit more supply in the market, they've now limited people to 2 short-term rentals in the city limits of Atlanta, of Fulton County. And one of those has to be your primary home if you want to do it. And the other can be an investment. And so for me personally, I have, my primary home where I have an Airbnb underneath. And then I have another one down the block that I Airbnb. And I closed on one today that's outside of city limits so I can continue to grow. So when you say the rule, it really only applies to Fulton County. That doesn't include East Point. It doesn't include Hapeville, Decatur, all these other places that are super close that people would think, oh yeah, this is just Atlanta, or even College Park. It doesn't include any of those. And I actually have a couple owners that I manage for that we found ways, they don't live in the state or any of that, we found ways to get them licenses to where they're still trying to figure it out, man. But yes, they are going to implement that at some point.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. I think I read it. I'm like, wow, man.
Hey, they're trying to keep us from growing. I'm like, man, I want 7 of these. So I'm gonna keep going, but it's gonna be probably a little bit on the edge of Atlanta. until they figure out, because it was supposed to go into effect in March, then it got pushed back to May and then June, and the latest they've pushed it back to September because there was an uproar. There's so many investors that had short-term rentals that live out of state that have been doing this for years. And so I think they're going to make some tweaks to the law before it goes into full effect. And they're still working through that, within city council and everything like that. But until then, I'm going to keep buying on the edges and just keep the two, so I know that I'm compliant either way.
Okay. Have you noticed any drop-offs in the Airbnb and people renting? Like,
not so much for the rentals. And the thing is, what I love about this ordinance is it's almost a little bit like with the interest rates, right? The interest rates that are rising are forcing some of the people that were maybe 1 foot in, 1 foot out to say, I'm gonna stay out the side. And it gives us an opportunity to come in and really snatch up some deals. The same thing with this ordinance. What the ordinance is doing is, I've seen daily on these Facebook groups that I'm in for Airbnb in Atlanta, the people that were doing rental arbitrage are selling their units. They're getting out of it because now you have to get approval from the property manager or the landlord, which many of them didn't know they were doing this. So they're not signing that document. And so the supply of short-term rentals is decreasing, right? And so, no, I haven't seen a drop off. I can tell you that I had my best month for both the ones that are in the city of Atlanta last month. And I'm hoping August beats that as well. Justin, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Super good. Super good. And welcome to the call. If you're open to it, a little bit about your background and also what you're looking to accomplish from an investment standpoint.
Awesome. Yeah, man. I can tell you that. So my name's Justin Parham, man. I'm originally from Millersville, Georgia, played college football. And currently right now, I'm inside the NBA full-time producer. I'm a feature producer for the Inside the NBA show. So I do short form, long form documentaries and sports. And in my pastime, I'm a freelance videographer and a cinematographer as well. And for me, what I'm trying to do in this real estate space is I'm looking to acquire some properties and do some short-term rentals and some mostly buy and hold situations is what I'm looking to do.
Love it, man. Love it. Welcome. In DC, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. How you doing, Nee?
Dwayne, what's good, man?
How you doing, man?
Hey, you got the gold chain out and everything, man.
I know, right?
Everything.
I just ran back in from from outside, man. How y'all doing?
Hey, super good. And I know you've done this before, but would you mind just one more time giving an introduction to yourself and also kind of what you're looking to do and kind of what you're working on? Because you got an active project going on.
Yes. Okay. Hey, everybody. Nice to meet y'all. My name is Dwayne Charles. I'm from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, a small island in the Caribbean. My background is I'm a nurse. I traveled throughout Georgia. I recently met Nee on the Bigger Pockets podcast. And, Nee and I are working on a project. I'm currently trying to close on a short-term rental that I'm trying to start Airbnb. My long-term goal is to try to acquire some short and long-term rentals and maybe a small 4 to 10 apartment unit. And that's basically my long-term goal. So I'm just in the investment space. I'm trying to make some passive income and just learn the real estate game.
Come on now. Love it. And Dwayne, I'm hoping that we have a success story here in about 2 weeks because he is scheduled for a closing end of next week. We just got to make it through 1 or 2 things and we are close.
Yeah.
So congrats to you in advance, man.
Thank you.
Now, Radim, we were talking a little bit earlier, and I think, so you started doing a little bit of the short-term rental, right? With this place that you did, you wanted to do some events in short-term rental. Are you still doing that or are you just renting it out?
I didn't make a decision, but I had a few people. I'm wrestling with the idea. Do I want to just want the activity? And what I mean by activity is, do I want the in and out with the event space? Do I want the crowd? Do I want the nuisance? But lately, like I just said, my heart been like, I might start a after school or probably a before school, like kind of setting for the kids. And I've been kind of playing off like teaching probably women, male trades, so-called, and men, women trades. So that way we can just kind of try to like encourage just, gender roles elimination. In addition, increase trades, probably have some reading time, just trying to sort a lot of things out. So it's just my heart taking me in a different way. It's not really money focused.
Man, that is pretty cool. And I love the fact that every time we talk, it's all about how can I build this this empire on the side that's going to allow me to give back to the community and really just bring everybody up. And for everybody else's knowledge, Radim has been in the real estate game for close to 20 years. And so this is what it could look like, right? When you start to build over time and you start to stack chips year over year, you will have opportunities to give back to your community. And I love the idea, man. And if there was an opportunity, I think we talked about it before, like a session where we could teach chess or games like that, man, count me in.
No, for sure. So my whole thing was it really loosely started around the chess because I play chess, but I don't like playing online because I really want the interaction. Like I'm really trying to get people to come back and do human interaction. We're doing so much stuff through Zoom and things, and we just really don't even know how to interact with humans. Like we really losing sight of that. So I just wanted to create, one, and then two, I don't see too many people playing chess or a place. If you put it in a park, everybody gonna show up. But I just want to create a more safe environment, everything that's going on in Philly. And I wanted to just introduce it to the kids where they have a place so people can learn and people have a place to really be in a safe environment. So I've been procrastinating for years, just chasing my dreams and my ambition. But I have to start to do it. And with this space, it just is pinging on all levels, like in my head, like this is the opportunity to just keep pinging. But I'm just gonna go ahead and just try to create something like it's in the works right now. So,
hey, come on now, that is the key, man. We got to get to it. To it.
For sure.
And I know, Dwayne, it's been a little while, right, since we talked about like the next steps and questions that you may have swirling in your head about, hey, after I close on this property, what are the next steps? Do you have any questions that were pressing or anything that was on your mind?
Let's see.
How much money I'm going to make?
Hey, come on now. That's the main question. I think we figured that piece out. Hey, okay, this makes sense.
Well, besides that, Radim, that, I think some of the questions that I might have after closing would be, one, what type of licenses I might need to be able to properly run a short-term rental. And I guess my second question would be, in terms of layers of protection, I want to know, I would like to try to know how I can properly, cover myself in terms of if there's some type of lawsuit, because I know they say, insurance is one type of coverage, and LLC, and then different. So those different type of layers of coverage, I would probably like to learn or know more about.
I can speak to the license piece, and then Radim, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the layers of protection. But from a licensing piece, because your home is located within Atlanta, right? Two things. One, you can get up and running as quickly as you can. That's the main thing. Get it up and running, start getting that income coming in. Typically, you can get an Airbnb up and running within 2.5, 3 weeks. And we can definitely talk about that so that you can get that income coming in. Number two, they kept pushing that requirement back for the license. So now it's not required until I think it's end of September. That being said, it's a pretty smooth process. All you have to do is apply for the license online, and they ask you a whole bunch of questions, and you got to submit this documentation and your driver's license, things of that nature. But I found a couple of shortcuts. I actually have the number to one of the people that works within that office. I can give that to you. And after you submit your application, you just want to call that person, have them review it, and just they'll walk you through oh, you need to do one more thing, or you need to add this piece, and you can kind of get past that. This is super new to the city of Atlanta. I think there's only 4 people in that office trying to process thousands of applications. And so it's not fully vetted. Many people are able to just kind of get by. I just had one of my investors that doesn't live here was able to get one of those short-term rental licenses through an LLC, which is not supposed to be legal, but he's got the license now, so he's good to go. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. There's a process in place, and you just follow each step and submit the documents.
Okay.
But Radim, on the layers of protection piece, what do you do?
Okay, so the first thing, like I just said, the first thing you want to do is you want to get the proper insurance from your insurance agency. So don't try to, increase your liability. You're in liability, whatever that may be. So if you're doing the short-term rental, you just want to have enough coverage that that if anybody do slip, fall, get hurt, that you're responsible. You just want to increase that. You just want to look at that. But you could talk that over whatever your state, whatever your insurance company or agency is. You can ask question, hey, listen here, I'm trying to do this. What's the max coverage that I can get for here? And pick and choose your liability, but the key is the liability. Sometimes in some cases you can encourage your people to get rental insurance if they stand a little longer, so that way in case of a fire or something like that, they can go through their insurance and it really won't affect you in that way. Like you won't be responsible for their room and board outside if it was a misplaced fire. In addition to property damage, maybe like your water line, things like that, if you want insurance for things like that. I know in Philadelphia, we have what we call American Resources, and they pretty much cover your lines for less than $10 a month. It might cover your sewage line, your main line, in some cases, electricity, your lines. So if you check with Atlanta, you doing business in Atlanta?
Yes, sir.
So check to see if they have a similar program where they can cover like your appliances and things like that. So when you do get hit with one of them unexpected problems, they can come out and fix it. To you, it probably only costs you maybe $100 and something a year. But I mean, they come out and fix a $6,000 problem with maybe like a $50 deductible, depending on, which one they're doing. So you'll be covered kind of like on both ways. And in regards to your LLC, that's steps too, but the main difference between an LLC and personal is just that's the difference, right? Your LLC, it won't really affect you personally if you set it up right. So that way, if something do happen, let's just say you didn't get the right protections, and let's just say you on a hook for $100,000 and you really don't have it, right? But it's in your LLC. Well, you still can operate personally somewhere else, and you got another option because it's attached to your business. You understand what I'm saying? It don't hit you personally, your credit, things like that, depending on how you probably, if somebody come after you, you always have another option. But if it's personal, then they can come at probably you, things that you may own somewhere else, anything that you personally attached to. So that's the difference when they talking about LLC protection and the different layers. It just remove you. You're not a person when you're LLC.
And
Radim, speaking of that, let me ask you a question. So are you purchasing property in your name or in your LLC? How do you go about it, if you don't mind me asking?
I do both. So I utilize the first time owners through my personal. With my LLC, I have a single LLC, and the first time I purchased, I had to use my personal like collateral to back up some loan. And for my other LLC, I have it created through different people as entities. So I kind of did it. I got it on all ways. Like any way that I can purchase real estate, I go ahead and do it. But at one point in time, I had all my properties in my personal names. But as I got more knowledgeable how LLCs work, I kind of switched almost about 90% of my properties into my LLC names and different LLCs. So I may have like 2-3 different LLCs because like again, just doing layers of protection. If somebody come after one, I don't want it to affect every one of my properties. Not saying that anything will, but I just always want to give myself options and mobility in this game. So, and for my personal, I just have enough coverage where, I have where I'm covered, where I'm not caught with my pants down, so to speak.
And to that point, just to add on, and we're going to come right back to you, Dwayne, to what Radim's saying, to be clear, when you are purchasing a property, there's a couple ways to go about it. Now, Radim gets a lot of properties off market as well, and also through like cash buys to fix them up. And in those, it's a-okay to buy through your LLC because you're going to refinance it later, and it's a cash buy. But when you look at buying a regular house, like Justin, I just closed on a house today. When you look at buying a regular house and securing like 30-year best financing, they're going to give that to a personal person. LLCs, when I've tried to go through and get like commercial loans through LLCs, they may give you like a 5-year arm that's going to adjust after 5 years. That's amortized over 20 years. And so what a lot of people do, and it sounds like what Radim did for some of his buy and holds, and what I do as well, is you purchase a property in your personal name, and then you move it to an LLC. So then you get that protection. You do not touch the mortgage loan, right? Because they're only going to lend to you with that 30-year rate. They wouldn't do that for an LLC unless the LLC is well established and huge. And so what I typically recommend, and what I'm going to do right now with the house I just purchased, is I'm going to get everything set up. And then in about 30 days, I'm going to go to my lawyer and have her quick claim it into the LLC. So now the LLC owns it. And to Radim's point, if anything were to happen to that house, even though we both operated with amazing ethics, if anything were to happen to that house, and say somebody tried to do like $1 million lawsuit that was worth more than the house, all they could collect was what was in the LLC. They couldn't come after your personal assets or your personal wages. Dwayne?
Oh yes. So I'm just trying to understand the point. So is it a wise thing to do to each particular property, each individual property you, I guess, collect? Is it okay to start a new LLC for that? So in case something happens on any one given property, they could only come for that particular property with the LLC and not like your personal or any other buildings that you have.
Oh, but you
could, right? For me, it would drive me crazy. If I'm doing a flip, it's going to be a new LLC, right? But for the houses that I buy and hold in Kentucky, I have one LLC for all 25 units, right? And I probably should create a new one after the value goes up. And for the ones in Atlanta, one LLC. Radim, how do you do it?
Well, it's just a matter of strategy, right? Because it's pros and cons. And one of the pros and cons right quick is, sometimes when you do want to purchase a new home in your LLC, if it's so new, then it don't have no history. So you can kind of skip the title search. There's really nothing on there. So it's really fast. But if you're trying to build your LLC credit, you might want to just keep it long and keep everything under that umbrella, because if the long term is to kind of build credit and establish, relationships with different institutes like that, you just building your credit over time, and you can't kind of like do that with like 5-6 of different ones. It's kind of like impossible. So if it's just a matter of strategy. But like I just said, we can go into deep, but like it's just that that's the pros and difference that I notice in regards. So it's just a matter of strategy. But if you really just increase your coverage and pay the insurance, you should be fine. And, just be on top of your bills, you should be all right. But, like I said, just a matter of strategy. Because like I just said, each one of my LLCs is probably the address of the house. It's like, that's
Come
how
on,
I
man.
don't get conflicted.
You ain't switch up the names or have something,
No. So if I buy a house on Needs Road, that's Needs Road Enterprises. If I bought something on Grad Street, it's Grad Street Enterprises. So that give me cues, you know what I'm saying? So, but it just give you options, man. You just always want to give yourself opportunities, man, because you never know when you're going to hit a dry spell in this field, and you just want to get moving. You just got to know how to just keep things in place. And also too, if you can, increase your lines on your credit, like your credit cards and everything, just in case. Don't be scared to use everything that you need to get to the top, and everything else will work out.
And to that point, I literally, right before this call, that's Radim, that's what I was doing when I said, hey, I need 2 minutes. I was on the phone with Amex for a business credit card, and it's the 4th one I'm getting with them. And they just cleared me for way more than I actually need. But anytime I get a new Airbnb, I always get a new business card for that Airbnb. And they come with like that 12-month of 0 interest APR. And I use that to furnish it, right? So when you furnish an Airbnb, it's going to cost you roughly $5K per bedroom. So I have a 3-bedroom, 3.5. I got really 4 bedrooms. So it's going to be about $20K. And they gave me like 30, but it's 0% APR. So I can fully furnish everything and then pay for it with the Airbnb's income over 12 months. And I still get to write all that off because it was stuff I was purchasing for the business. So yeah, I'm with Radim on the credit cards and things of that nature. You just got to use it smartly in different situations.